registration. Welcome my dear. These are the scope of this particular chapter. Special category states. How much is the threshold limit for the registration? And what is the threshold limit for registration? 10 lakhs. If they exceed 10 lakhs, they are liable to register. All other states in India, only 20 lakhs. So I am not called as a taxable person. Remember the definition of taxable person. Who is taxable person? Other than MMNT states, only if I cross 20 lakhs. But hold on, a proviso has been placed. Proviso will always talk in contrary to what is above, right? This is more like of a ratification, my dear. This is more like of a ratification. You should understand. Why I use this word, you will understand later. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. My dear brothers and sisters, welcome for the beautiful beginning of procedural chapters, registration. My dear, this particular chapter onwards, you have to appreciate, it's like you have to listen to me and then immediately you have to go with the materials given to you guys. That's the only way wherein you can actually take grip. And all these days I was insisting on the revision, but now I will be doing the revision in the classroom itself, because starting from registration, followed by tax invoice, debit note, credit note and e-waybill, then payment and returns chapter. These 4 chapters requires immediate and consistent revision from our end. So only when we do that, we will be aiming to score the maximum out of these 4 areas. So let's learn as usual what is the scope of this beautiful chapter called registration. Welcome my dear. Here we go, registration. These are the scope of this particular chapter, starting with first and foremost and the biggest learning. The time consumption learning is going to be 2 topics, of which the first time consumption learning is person liable to register and person not liable to register. See, it might be listed one after one, but we are not supposed to learn in that way. We have to learn in an interlinking fashion. As we all know, harmonious construction gives you a richer dividend. I hope you all agree with me by this time, right? So procedures, after that when we start procedures, there are different type of registration like normal person, casual taxable person, non-resident taxable person, suo motu registration, electronic commerce operator, TDS and TCS collectors. So there are different type of registrations which we will be discussing about, and for all such registrations, what are the requirements, what are the form, how the registration certificates will be issued, what is the day when it will be effective from. So this forms all into a registration criteria, and then we will go and discuss about the changes in such registration. So once we complete this, we will be having the registration certificate in the hand virtually, and how, if at all any amendments is going to take place, we will be looking into changes and amendments in the registration certificate, and followed by suspensions or cancellations of the registration certificate. On what grounds there can be a suspension or cancellation, and if it is done without giving the principle of natural justice or opportunity of being heard, how to go about revocation of the cancellation. So these are the areas which we are going to look forward for, right my dear brothers and sisters? Let's go ahead and start a beautiful learning called registration. My dear brothers and sisters, first learning is person liable to register under section 22. And you all will be aware of, when I have taken the registered person procedure, there are 3 sections under which registration is possible. One is section 22, another is section 24, another one is voluntary registration under 25(3). I am going to start with the first one with the in-depth study and analysis. Welcome to section 22. My dear brothers and sisters, section 22, what it talks about? It gives us the list of subject to which you are liable to register. Subsection 1, let me, before presenting my presentations or before giving you my insights into this, let me give you the bare law so that you can get to know. Okay, what are all the sections totally we are going to cover in this chapter, my dear? As you could see there are we are going to cover about 9 sections starting from 22 to 30. 9 sections we are going to cover, and thereabout we are going to simultaneously learn CGST rules as amended for your relevant examination dates, and there are 21 rules totally we will be covering, starting from rule number 8 and goes up to rule number 26. And these are the rules we are going to cover. These are the scope of this chapter. My dear, there is a slight change which I want to insist. Unlike previous chapters wherein I have taken you through every limbs of the Bar Act and explained you, here I might not be doing that exercise. rather than I'll giving you the crisp snapshot of what is a combined learning of this much of rules and sections will do. What you guys are supposed to do. When I complete a provision, immediately you should complete the same in ISM and immediately you should revise. And sir, is ISM is more important? ISM, I have somehow found this way, they have done in a very detailed manner of Control C, Control V of bare law and rules as such. So, I beg to differ with all due respects to our alma mater. I am saying this way, if you go through first the notes what is circulated to you, the book what is given to you, please go through, it is more than sufficient. And my dear, the book I circulate, I stand by it, it is more than sufficient. I have not said this statement in the first 6 chapters, and in this particular chapter registration, when we start, when I am holding this, you have to understand I owe the responsibility on my shoulders, and I am saying with absolute clarity, follow the notes, more than sufficient. But you have to read the Institute ISM only once for MCQ sake. Right, my dear brothers and sisters? Does it make sense? Am I loud and clear? That's how it should be. So listen to whatever I'm going to say, immediately back it up. Immediately back it up with the relentless effect of reading in my notes plus ISM. More than sufficient. You are going to do and get done away with this chapter in a fatafat manner. Right? Get yourself fastened, and because we are going to have a wonderful learning of this chapter, procedural, we will see it in a practical way. Let's go, my dear. Straight away, section 22, bare law. I just want to show you what is there, and then I want to take it to in a different way. Come on here. Section 22, bare law. As you could see, how many sections are going to be here with me? There is subsection 1, which consists of series of 3 provisos and 1 explanation, wherein third proviso and explanation are the latest amendment which is relevantly exclusively applicable for your examination. And then you could see subsection 2, subsection 3, subsection 4, and there are few more explanations as to what is aggregate turnover and whether job work to principal, whether to be completed, and what does mean by special category states. What do you mean by special category states? Right, my dear. And having said only these are going to be with us. Having said only these are going to be with us, we are going to understand what is this subsection, what is the section 22 is all about. So I'm going to present you the crux of all these sections. As I requested, remember, when I complete respective part of section 22, what is your duty? I'm re-insisting, my dear, this is the only way to score maximum and to take grip out of this chapter. Take grip out of this chapter. The moment I complete something, I will insist revision, put everything on hold, go ahead, immediately revise the way I said. My notes plus ISM once. Come back, check this understanding. Comfortable? Let's start. First, section 22. I'm going to straight away present you, instead of reading the bare law, from this chapter onwards, I'm going to present only the understanding. You guys have to do the Institute ISM. Right, my dear? Let's start. First one. Every supplier during the financial year, if the aggregate turnover exceeds a threshold limit of exemption from registration, shall be liable to register. My dear, first and foremost, section 22 says, who is the person liable to register? It says, a person is liable to register if he crosses the threshold limit for exemption from registration. What do you mean by exemption from registration? Which is nothing but threshold limit for not registering. And once you cross the threshold limit, it is called as threshold limit for registration. You have to register thereon. They are using a beautiful language saying exemption from registration, limit for exemption from registration. And if you exceed it, you are liable to register. What is that limit? And when they say the limit, they use the word as specified. Now let us go ahead and check what they have specified in the section, and is there anything extension has been given. First and foremost thing, special category states, we need to make a count on. Article 279 clause 4a talks about what are all the special category states. In that, you all have to appreciate 11 states has been given after which is in the year, which is in 2016 September, when the proposal was made by the GST Council, and later on when the GST Council presented the entire version in 2017 March to the Parliament. There are 11 states which has been listed there in the special category states. Step by step, post to the implementation of GST, few states went to the GST Council and represented saying that we don't want that special category status as far as the registration is concerned. Please relieve us from that, they requested. So accordingly, all the states who have requested have been relieved by the GST Council, and today we have only MMNT, 4 states in that particular special category states. Those are Manipur, Mizoram, Nagaland and Tripura. Manipur, Mizoram, Nagaland and Tripura. Only 4 states, MMNT. Manipur, Mizoram, Nagaland, Tripura. MMNT. Right, my dear? This MMNT only now to be called as special category states. Now this is only to be called as what? Special category states. And for this special category states, how much is the threshold limit for the registration? Law says 10 lakhs. And there is a proviso placed with effect from 1st February 2019. A proviso has been inserted to give them the power to extend it to any amount maximum of 20 lakhs. Maximum of 20 lakhs. You can see not exceeding 20 lakhs. Not exceeding 20 lakhs. But take it from me, my dear. Till date, government has not specified any supply or supplier under this particular provision. So this remains to be in only form, not in spirit executed by the government. So that's with respect to special categories. Entire category we are splitting into 2 categories: special categories, other than special categories. What are special category states, my dear? Come again, what is special category states? MMNT. Manipur, Mizoram, Nagaland, Tripura. Manipur, Mizoram, Nagaland, Tripura. These are the only 4 states. And what is the threshold limit for registration? Once they cross the turnover, they are liable to register. What is that limit? 10 lakhs. If they cross 10 lakhs, the day they exceed 10 lakh, they are liable to register. Comfortable, my dear? Okay, let's understand. I am in Tamil Nadu. A dealer in Tamil Nadu, how much upon crossing I should register? 10 lakhs? Because T, is it stands for Tamil Nadu? No. T stands for special category states, which is Tripura, and Tamil Nadu will not fit into over there. All other states in India like Kerala, Karnataka, Andhra, Gujarat, West Bengal, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Uttar Pradesh, Jharkhand, Tamil Nadu, Pondicherry, Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, whatever I missed there, union territories, other union territories, Delhi, including all, except this four, all other states, government has said they will be liable to register only if they cross 20 lakhs. But hold on, there is a proviso placed by the government wherein the government said, wherein the council has agreed for this. If the respective states are making a request, now GST Council gives a approval and government accept the limit of not registration, granting exemption from registration as only 20 lakhs. So say for example, I am in Tamil Nadu, the threshold limit as per section 22 for me, wherein I am liable to register only when I exceed 20 lakhs. Sir, I am less than 20 lakhs. Will I be called as person liable to register? No, I can't be called. So I am not called as a taxable person. Remember the definition of taxable person. Who is taxable person? A person registered or a person liable to be registered. And look at the heading here, it says person liable to register. Everybody, my dear? So when I am liable to register, if I am other than MMNT states, only if I cross 20 lakhs. But hold on, a proviso has been placed. Proviso will always talk in contrary to what is above, right? What is that now it says? It says the proviso gives the power, and this is the latest amendment with effect from 1/1/2020. This is more like of a ratification, my dear. This is more like of a ratification. You should understand. Why I use this word, you will understand later. Now listen carefully. That what is it government basically talks about? Government basically says, Arey Baba, they have the right when the respective state comes to the council and they request the council and the council recommends the same to the government, and then government in the public interest they can grant one proviso. What is that? If at all a supplier dealing exclusive only in goods, not in services, not both. See, if I am dealing with both goods and services, I am dealing both, I am not eligible for this proviso. I am dealing in services. Say for example, Shaswath Academy can never be entitled for this exemption because we are doing a service. We are not dealing in goods. Right, my dear? So only those dealing in goods. Say for example, dealer of this pen, buying and selling of this pen, no specs. dealer of this t-shirt, dealer of this particular board, dealer of this mobile, dealer of this camera, all these people. Everybody, my dear, dealer of the laptop, dealer of the water bottle, manufacturer of those, whoever it be. The supplier is exclusive into the manufacturing of or into the dealing of what? Goods. Supplier should not provide services. Exception is only one. Such supplier for whom the higher threshold limit is as per the proviso, which is not exceeding 40 lakhs, they can do only one supply, which is, even if they do, they will still be considered as eligible. That is supply of services which is by the way of lending, advances, loans. Remember somewhere? Granting of lending of advances, loan, as far as the consideration for the same is represented as interest or discount. Heard it somewhere, my dear. Composition schemes specifically exempt, specified exempts apply, not to be considered for the purpose of calculation of turnover of 10%. You remember that? Yes. It's the same exempts apply which you are not supposed to consider as supply here. Say for example, I am the dealer in this particular marker and I am also into the business of lending money and taking interest as a return. Even though I am making an outward supply of an exempt supply called advances, lending money, I am still be eligible because I am providing only that one. Apart from that, I am dealing in the supply of goods. I am eligible for the higher threshold limit as specified here. Everybody, my dear. So this is how you have to take first two learning. Priority learning for us is we are straight away able to understand as per subsection 1 of section 22, there are two categories split. One is special category states, another one is other than special category states. Special category states, what is the threshold limit? 10 lakhs. Other than special category states, generally 20 lakhs, but you are exclusively into the supply of goods, then you might be eligible for 40 lakhs, provided respective state is making the application and council is recommending on the same, central government shall notify that. But the maximum threshold limit for registration is 40 lakhs. My dear, please appreciate, this is what I said. I said this is basically what? A ratification. Why? I'll teach you. See, drawing power from this, and what should not be considered as a disqualification? Exclusive supply of goods, but they can do only one service. What is that? Specified exempt supply they can do. Specified exempt supply they can do. What is the specified exempt supply? Look at the note. What is the specified exempt supply? For the purpose of this subsection, a person shall be considered to be engaged exclusively into the supply of goods, even if he is engaged in the exempt supply of services provided by way of services, by way of extending deposit, loans or advances, insofar as the consideration is represented by way of interest or discount. It is the same exempted supply what we have come across as not to be considered for the purpose of composition scheme also. Here is also we are ignoring the same. My dear, even if he carries on such activity, he will not be considered as disqualified. If he is dealing with that particular services and he is dealing only in goods, then he will be considered as dealing exclusively. He is a supplier of exclusive goods and he is entitled for the benefit of the above notification. Right? Is that anything government has done? Yes. Government has already implemented this by drawing the power given under section 23 where exemption for the same is granted. My dear, harmonious construction is required. You cannot learn section 22, 24, 23 on an isolated manner. You have to learn all those things together. Wherever relevant, we have to add the things. Now, first let us go to section 23 and understand they have the power to grant exemption. Now, please come to section 23. Here we go, my dear. Have a look at section 23. Person not liable for registration. The following person shall not be liable for registration, in which I want to have a look at subsection 2 by you guys. Subsection 1 lists two type of person who is not liable. But subsection 2, look at this. Government may, on the recommendation of the council, by a notification, specify the category of the person who may be exempted from obtaining registration. So government is going to say who is the category of the person who is going to be exempt from registration. Drawing power from this subsection 2, government has already implemented the spirit of 40 lakh exemption now, which has been brought in with effect from 1 1/1/2020, whatever the proviso they have been brought in spirit it was already in existence by drawing the power from section 23 subsection 2. Let us go ahead to learn what is that provision, my dear. Look at this. A person who is engaged in, actually it's a straightforward provision, there need not be anything, okay. Now let's take it this way. A person who is engaged in the exclusive supply of goods, which is the proviso, exclusive supply of goods, and whose aggregate turnover in the financial year does not exceed 40 lakhs, in any financial year. Aggregate turnover in any financial year does not exceed 40 lakh rupee, my dear. This was made in letter and spirit from 1st April 2019 itself. Right? Now this is what actually formalized by way of introducing a proviso, so that they can redraft actually this notification and we will be expecting a redrafting of notification as well. Now what is that? They say subject to other conditions they are specified. What are the other conditions? Let me quickly simply tell you other conditions and then I'll explain you. Person required to take a compulsory registration under section 24 of the said act. However, the above exemption is not applicable to the following category of person. First one, person who have taken registration under section 24. My dear, please remember, section 24 is called as compulsory registration. If anybody is satisfying the criteria of section 24 and such a person has taken the registration and he is dealing exclusively into the supply of goods, never mind, he is not eligible for this notification. He is not eligible for the extended threshold limit of 40 lakhs. He will be considered only for 10 lakhs or 20 lakhs accordingly. Now next one, person engaged in making supply of sin goods. And what is sin goods? We already understood IPAT, and IPAT stands for ice cream, pan masala and tobacco, aerated waters and tobacco. These four products which we called IPAT. This is an acronym, we remember. This is the same products which listed in composition scheme supply as well. Look at the connectivity. There also we understood composition scheme is a separate procedure in that. Same procedure, very similar to that, adopted here also. So person engaged in making supplies of sin goods is not entitled for the 40 lakh. That means, sir, I am a dealer in ice cream. Sorry, I am not eligible for 40 lakh. My threshold limit is only 20 lakhs or 10 lakhs, depends on which state I operate. If I am in MMNT states, it's only 10 lakhs. Other than MMNT states, only 20 lakhs I am eligible. I am not eligible for 40 lakhs. Why? Because it's very simple. I am not entitled for this notification. Next one, person engaged in making intrastate supply in the state of Pan must, which is Puducherry, Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Manipur, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Uttarakhand, Sikkim, Telangana, Tripur, and is the next condition. That means if I am operating in Pan must, my dear, I have properly formulated this in this order. PAN, P-A-N. P stands for Puducherry, A stands for Arunachal Pradesh, N stands for Nagaland, must. And see, just remember this way. What are all the states not eligible for this 40 lakhs? PAN must states are not eligible for 40 lakhs. Just keep it simple. Why PAN must? See, under income tax, for every SSC, PAN is must, right? PAN is a 10-letter acronym. Correct, my dear? Look at this. I formulated as 10-letter. PAN, 3-letter. Triple M, 3. And USTT, this is 4-letter. So, totally 10 letters. I am acronymed this. How I have to go about? P stands for Puducherry, A stands for Arunachal Pradesh, N stands for Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram, Meghalaya, U stands for Uttarakhand, S stands for Sikkim, T stands for Tripura, and last T stands for Telangana. My dear, these are the first letters of the state which are not entitled for 40 lakh threshold limit. They are entitled only for the lesser amount. How much it is? If it is MMNT, Manipur, Mizoram and Tripura, Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram, Nagaland, Tripura, 10 lakhs. All other states, they are restricted only to 20 lakhs. They cannot go for 40 lakh threshold limit of exemption. And if you are an operator from this particular state, then you are restricted, you are not entitled. That means if you are operating in other states, you are eligible. Say for example, you are in Maharashtra, you are in Uttar Pradesh, you are in Delhi, you are in Tamil Nadu, you are in Andhra Pradesh, you are entitled for the higher threshold limit of 40 lakhs, provided you are going to be supplying only in goods other than this IPAT. With me, my dear, and you have not taken the registration under section 24. All the conditions need to be satisfied. And look at this, and is used. And why I say all the conditions, my dear, please appreciate, and emphasis, all the 4 needs to be satisfied. Now look at this last one. Person exercising option under this provision of section, person exercising option under the provision of subsection 3 of section 25 or the registered person who is intended to continue their registration under the said act. Meaning thereby, somebody has taken the voluntary registration and they want to continue with their registration, they don't want to make any change, they are also not eligible for this. Meaning thereby, sir, I am the dealer in this particular pen. Before crossing the threshold limit, I have volunteered to take the registration. I have volunteered to take my registration. Threshold limit is not exceeded, but I has voluntarily taken the registration, my dear. Then also, a voluntary register guy cannot go and claim, this. You should ask me one question. Sir, voluntary registration he has carried out. No, then why we talk about he is not entitled for this notification? This notification is not for registration. It is granting exemption from registration. Why I say now? Please understand. Before this notification which came from 1st April, someone say let's take the example of me. Let's say I am the one who is actually into the dealing of this pen. I am done close to 15 lakhs. I am sure another 6-7 lakhs I will do. So anticipating the 6-7 lakhs, what I did, I took the registration because it's going to be 21 or 22 lakhs, 6-7 lakhs. Right, my dear? Let's assume 7 lakhs. Already 15, another 7 in pipeline. I am sure I will be taking, into the registration. So instead of waiting for the time limit to cross, I want to register voluntarily because I anticipated to cross. So I took the voluntary registration in anticipation that I will exceed 20 lakhs. But what happened later on? I didn't cross. And subsequent to that 1/4/2019, this notification comes and say up to 40 lakhs you are not required. Wow, that's excellent. Now this man will think, even if I do 7 lakhs, I will be crossing only 22 lakhs. Why I should keep my registration? Can I cancel my registration? You might think, right? Not to entertain that idea only. They say somebody who has taken a voluntary registration and who is willing to continue his registration, for him this exemption is not eligible, because this is going to, if this point is not there, the fact that the turnover has not exceeded 40 lakhs would have become a ground for cancellation, but government doesn't want to allow that cancellation. That is why these provisions are inbuilt. So to put the long story in nutshell, what is the specified threshold limit? My dear, look at this. I'll give you in a very, very, very simple format, so that you can crack the examination with absolute clarity. You can crack the examination with absolute clarity. Look at the summary table, my dear. Sir, I am engaging only in supply of service, or engaged in the supply of goods or services, or both. I am engaging in this both. Then what is my threshold limit? In case of special category states, my threshold limit is 10 lakh. Other than special category states, my threshold limit is 20 lakhs. My threshold limit is only 20 lakhs. Look at the next category. This is category number 1. Look at the next category. Supply of only goods. I am only supply of goods. Exclusive into the supply of goods. So how it works? Special category states being MMNT, 10 lakhs. That's fixed always. And Puducherry, Arunachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Sikkim, Telangana, my registration limit is only 20 lakhs. Other than PAN master states. What is MMNT? This is MMNT. What is other acronym? Put together. This two put together, it is actually PAN must. So other than PAN must states, I am entitled to go for a 40 lakh subject to other conditions. Star is applicable. What are the other conditions, boss? We have seen 4 conditions above now. What are those? Let us reiterate. Point number 1. Supplier should not have registered under section 24. Supplier should not have registered under section 25(3). Supplier supplier should not be the supplier of iPad goods, SIN goods, and most importantly, third condition is what? Supplier should not be in PAN must states. Supplier should not be in PAN must states. Are you comfortable, my dear? Let me quickly reiterate. First condition, I should be exclusive into the supply of goods. Second, I must not be in PAN must states. I will be other than PAN must states. Number 3, I should not have registered under section 24. Number 4, I should not have registered under section 25(3). And last one and fifth condition, I must not be into the supply of iPad, ice cream, pan masala, tobacco, and aerated waters. I am not into the supply of this. Once all these conditions are satisfied, I am entitled for the exemption limit of 40 lakhs. Say for example, Tamil Nadu, if at all I am in Tamil Nadu going to deal with this pen, tell me, I have taken my registration, I have not taken my registration. What is my threshold limit? What is my threshold limit? Is supply of goods, supply of this pen, is it service? Goods na? Okay, I am into exclusive supply of this. But straight away I will come into exclusive supply of goods. And I will ask, am I pan must states or am I other than pan must state? Other than pan must state na? Okay, I am into exclusive supply of this marker, whiteboard marker. Is it iPad? No, right, my dear? This is not ice cream, this is not pan masala, this is not tobacco, this is not aerated waters. Therefore, I am entitled for the exemption limit from registration, threshold limit for registration for me, who is the exclusive supplier of this marker in Tamil Nadu, is 40 lakhs. Is 40 lakhs. Everybody, my dear? Will your answer be different if I am in Telangana? Will your answer be different if I am in Telangana? Yes, I am said to be in Panma state. Telangana comes there. Therefore, it will be 20 lakhs. Will your answer be different if I am in Manipur? If I am in Manipur, will your answer be different? Yes, Manipur comes in special category states. Therefore, the limit is only 10 lakhs. Everybody, my dear? Suppose I am changing the question. I am CAS Seetharaman, Chartered Accountancy Firm. Yes, Seetharaman and Associates. Tell me, my dear, what is my threshold limit? You will be aggregate turnover. You will be considering what? In Tamil Nadu. CAS Seetharaman, Chartered Accountancy Firm, Tamil Nadu. What do you have to consider immediately? MMNT, other than MMNT. Special category states, other than special category states. Oh, T is there. Tamil Nadu is that T here. The T stands for in special category states, Tripura. Right, my dear? Therefore, Tamil Nadu is in other than special category states? Yes. Threshold limit is 20 lakhs. MMNT states, threshold limit is 10 lakhs. Everybody, my dear? Are you all with me? Right. Let me give you a beautiful logic. Okay. I am going to rub this. I want all of you to focus on when I rub this. Okay. Okay, my dear. Okay, I want all of you to answer my question. What looks to you now? What looks to you? You are able to see what in this board? I want all of you to answer. I want all of you to clearly answer what you are able to see in this board now. Hari, what you are seeing in this board, my dear? I rubbed it, right? Okay, now tell me what you are able to see now. Shobna, what you are able to see, my dear sister? Tell me. Okay, my dear Shobna sister says, I just see. I am presenting the entire board to you and I am asking what you are looking at. See, there are so many things for you to look at, to be very frank, and something good will always not catch your eyes. See, I have my Guru Sri Paramacharya there, and you guys will not look into Paramacharya and say, Kanchi Pereva is there. You will not say that. And so much white things are there here. You will not say that. Are Baba, leave this. My shadow, see how big my shadow is here. You will not say my shadow. But everybody get attracted by the small thing which is present over here. Correct, my dear? So the fact is what, sir? How much ever bigger things are there, our concentration or our focus is getting attracted by the smaller things. Correct? I am not saying this as a negative, but I want to give you a learning out of this. Why? I'll tell you. See, special category states are like this small dots. M, M, N, T. Small. Right? I have this board size big. What other? The board size bigs are other than M, M, and T states. Everybody, my dear, I have other than MMNT states coming into picture. Now the question is very interesting. I have head office. I have head office here. Let me divide. I have head office in other than MMNT states. I have head office in other than MMNT states. I am having one small branch office. I said only small branch office. I am not saying chinna video. Okay, small branch office is there. Okay, my dear, because I could see a lot of sarcastic smile the moment I said small branch. Mokka fellows, focus in subject, yeah. Small branch office. Everybody? Moonjila paru siripar. Now look into this, my dear. Now when I say small branch office, a lot of smiles, small branch. Oh, my dear, I am telling you this with experience. One house is more than sufficient. Don't look at and get a bad inspiration from those politicians who are having multiple houses or multiple properties. Very difficult to manage. Now let's get into this. Now answer me. And those who understood, enjoy. Those who are not able to understand, please go and have bakoda. Okay, now come back over here. Head office and branch office we have. My question is, what is the threshold limit for registration? Alright, let's take Seetharaman Associates. I started my head office from Chennai. I decided straight away I will have a branch office in Tripura. What is my threshold limit for registration? Because registration said aggregate turnover during financial year. Aggregate turnover. What do you mean by aggregate turnover? Now tell me. Aggregate turnover stands for turnover of all turnover of all GSTINs having same PAN, all over India basis, correct? You leave GSTIN because these guys are yet to register, but on a all over India for a same PAN, you will consider aggregate turnover. All over India, common PAN, on the same PAN, you will choose, right, my dear? Head office and branch office. Different PAN or same PAN? Same PAN. Super, my dear. Then tell me whether my threshold limit for registration is 10 lakhs or it is 20 lakhs. You remember the logic? What is the logic? Very simple. See, emotionally now, you will say, sir, 20 lakhs. But one second thing, because you all think from the assessee perspective, you all think from businessman perspective, and you will say, sir, 20 lakh. To grow big, it has to start small. Small drop only makes a ocean. Everything focused towards small thing, right? Right, my dear? See, life is so big, but you don't have one smaller thing in the life. Your entire life is waste. You know what is a small thing? Unconditional love. If you don't carry the small portion in your heart saying unconditional love, your entire life is gone. Then you will see every step of your life as business. So even for the life, the biggest thing, that requires a small, thing, which is called unconditional love. Because people are not able to understand unconditional love is simple to practice, they say it is the biggest thing in the life. No. Stop expecting more from others. Start expecting more from you. You will obviously fall in line with simple unconditional love. Right, my dear? No, okay, come back. I have a branch which is in 10 lakh limit. I have a HO which is in 20 lakh limit. What is my limits? My dear brothers and sisters, the aggregate turnover. Now my registration limit under section 22 subsection 1 will be restricted only to 10 lakhs. It's not 20 lakhs. It's restricted only to 10 lakhs. My dear, MCQ question. Remember, this might be an MCQ question. You will be arm twist with the facts. And you will be given a question. Mr. X who has just started the business and who is having the branch here, head office here, argues that he is entitled for the threshold limit being the benefit of loss must be given to the assessee. And principle of natural justice. No. Attraction is towards what? Smaller threshold limit. That's it. Government intention is to collect more tax from you. And you all will understand. Exemption in any form is ultra vires to GST. Exemption in any form is ultra vires to GST, because where there is an exemption, indirectly what will be built in there? Cascading. So it is better to have a lower threshold limit. It is not good to have a greater threshold limit. You would think 20 lakhs is beneficial. I see this way, 20 lakhs, now up to 20 lakhs, no credit is eligible, no taxes chargeable. All the taxes paid in the earlier stage will happen to what? It will be added to the cost. Is it not, my dear? But indirectly people are going to make profit out of even the taxes. So this is not good. So we should have reduced this. It should not be extended. It's so pathetic fact the government has decided to extend it to 40 lakhs. Right, my dear? Did you find it sensible? Right. Okay, if that be the case, please have it so clear. Please have it so clear. Only service. Let us quickly recap. Section 22, subsection 1, read with notification issued with effect from 1st April 2019, and third proviso, which is the latest amendment. Tell me, my dear, combined understanding is what? I am only exclusive supplier of service. What is my registration limit? Special category states. What is that? M, M, N, T. How much is the limit? 10 lakhs. Other than special category states, only service, 20 lakhs. Okay, sir, service and goods together, service and goods. How come it be? Very simple, yeah. Let's understand. I am actually a mechanic and I am also selling tires, tubes and other equipment, spare parts I am selling. Everybody, my dear? Possible, right? I am actually, basically I am the person who actually, does this, hair designing services like, Green Trends. I am also selling there some healthcare products. I am a yoga center teaching you yoga, but at the same time I am selling you some herbalized medicated products. Take a deep breath, okay? So that is how it works. Service and goods together. Shaswath Academy, which is basically into the supply of service, but also we are selling the books. Supply of goods and services. I am into the supply of goods and also I am into the supply of services. That means I am doing both. My dear, please appreciate, both doesn't indicate only composite and mixed supply. Two different supplies, but under my name I am doing this two different supplies. I might be inverter manufacturer, system manufacturer, calculator manufacturer. I am also doing repairs and service of the same. You are able to understand? So definitely yes, I am having a service now. So what is that we have to look forward? Please appreciate, in those situations, what is the threshold limit? Sir, both. No difference, my dear. What is special category states? MMNT, 10 lakhs. Other than special category states, 20 lakhs. Superb, yeah. That's it. Everybody? Right. And the last segment, what we need to understand is exclusive into the supply of goods. And exclusive, when I say, they are not considering one exempt supply if you make it. What is that one exempt supply? They ignore it for this exclusivity. Loans or advances, so far as the consideration is represented in the form of interest or discount, this is completely ignored. Even if you carry on that business of lending and taking returns as interest, you are still said to be considered as only a person who is doing exclusive supply of goods, provided you are into the mainstream of that. For example, what I said, I am the dealer in chairs, I am also doing loan. Then I am doing two supplies, right? I will not be considered as both. I will be considered only as supplier of goods. Why, sir? Because the service by way of lending money and deposit, so far as the consideration is considered as interest or discount, is not to be considered. Still, I will be considered as exclusive dealer in the chairs. And ask whether I am satisfying other conditions. What is that? Sir, I am dealing in chair, I said, right? Chair. Chair, is it iPad? No. I am not registered under 24, I am not registering under 25(3), and I am not in PAN-must states. Then my limit is 40 lakhs. I am into the PAN-must states, but special category states, only 10 lakhs. You are into the PAN-must states, but other than MMNT, 20 lakhs. Everybody comfortable? MCQ area. Mark it important, my dear. Mark it important. 2 minutes, go ahead. Quickly revise all this combination together. Go ahead to check it out. What is this? I'm sure you would have started loving this chapter, my dear, already, because it requires constant revision, at the same time immediate updation. And you all know how to calculate aggregate turnover. Before we are stepping into second condition. First condition is, once if the registration threshold limit is crossed, he is supposed to register. That's the first one. And in the first one, we are considering what is the threshold limit and how to calculate aggregate turnover. And I am sure you are mindful about how to calculate aggregate turnover provision, which we have done in chapter number 2 itself. But a slight change is there, because you can see I have given for the purpose of this section. So this section means aggregate turnover for the purpose of registration, how to calculate. Very mindfully, beautifully they have drafted this, my dear. Okay, before I teach you registration, aggregate turnover, I want you to complete revision on this. Go ahead. First, complete this particular learning. What is the threshold limit if one, crosses, he is liable to register? Go ahead, my dear. 1 minute for you. Quickly launch on this. My dear, I don't have a space, so I will simply put 40 lakhs subject to other conditions. Subject to satisfaction of other conditions. Okay, my dear? Go ahead. And you know what are all the other conditions I have to satisfy? I must not register under section 24. I must not take the registration under section 25, subsection 3, which is voluntary registration. I should not be dealing in iPad goods. I must not be in pan must states. These are the other conditions I should satisfy. In addition to the principal condition, I must be into exclusive supply of goods. So 5 collective conditions. Exclusive into the goods, no 24 registration, no 25/3 registration, no iPad dealing, not a trader, not presence in pan must states. For 5 conditions, all these 5 conditions put together satisfy, I am entitled for 40 lakh. Go ahead, my dear. Crack this. Mark this table important. My dear, immediately do a small favor to me. Just put on hold everything. Practice this table twice. Go ahead, my dear. Practice this table twice immediately by repeating, by saying and then write. Twice. Go ahead, my dear. I hope and trust you have written twice and have taken a strong grip about threshold limit. Now, how to calculate the 10 lakhs and 20 lakhs and 40 lakhs, my dear brothers and sisters? Let us go into this beautiful specific learning. I want to all register this in your mind. This aggregate turnover is for the purpose of this one chapter called registration, and this section called section 22. With me, my dear all, this is only for the purpose of this chapter. What are the things to include? What are the things not to be included? Let's go ahead, my dear. Aggregate turnover for the purpose of this section, where it is given, sir, explanation to section 22. Have a look at the bare law. Look at this, my dear. Explanation 1 and 2 together we should combine and learn for this purpose. So in the chart you can simultaneously make your understanding there. Aggregate turnover shall include all supplies made by a taxable person, whether on his own account or made on behalf of all his principals. They have to consider. And second thing, what they have given is supply of goods after completion of the job work by a registered job worker shall be treated as supply of goods by the principal referred in section 143, and the value of such goods shall not be included in the aggregate turnover of the registered job worker. Let me explain this two transaction with a clear common sense understanding. My dear, how to calculate the aggregate turnover for the purpose of 22 might also be a question or an MCQ. So every one of you have to register this so deep in your mind. With me, my dear, let's go ahead. What is that? Have a look at this, my dear brothers and sisters. Look at this. What is to be included? Beautifully it said taxable supply including zero rated supply, exempt supply including non-taxable supply, and also made by an agent on his behalf or his principal to be considered as an aggregate turnover. Let me explain what is this, my dear. Okay. Transaction between principal and agent is a very tricky one, and only whatever the agent makes on behalf of his principal by taking responsibility. And now you should recollect, by taking responsibility is the term, you have to recollect section 7(1)(c) read with para 3 of Schedule 1, right? Let me explain you how it works. Let's understand we are calculating the aggregate turnover of an agent called, say Seetharaman is a principal, right? I am transferring the goods to my agent called Hari, right? How to go about here? Now listen, we are calculating the aggregate turnover. We are calculating the aggregate turnover of first Hari, the agent, and then I'll come back to explain principal, which is Seetharaman. SSR, who is the principal. How to go about the aggregate turnover? Now listen, Hari made how? On behalf of Seetharaman. By taking the responsibility in his name, what does it mean? Hari has raised the invoice in his name. Hari has raised the invoice in his name. If that has happened, let us understand, Hari is making the further supply. Hari is making further supply to Joseph. Right, my dear? So, whatever the supply made by Hari in his name registered in the invoice to the Joseph on behalf of Seetharaman will be included in the Hari's turnover, because if this transaction he takes a responsibility, supply between Seetharaman and Hari will also be considered as what? Supply. Therefore, this transaction will be included in aggregate turnover of Seetharaman. Hello, my dear. Are you all with me? See, there is an interlinking provision. Only if you recollect what you have learned in supply chapter, you can appreciate this. Clear, my dear? So this is what we have to, that makes a lot of sense and mindfulness. Now listen, understand, why I say it's a supply? Very simple. When transaction between Seetharaman and Hari is to be considered as a supply, Seetharaman, myself, in my books of accounts, I would have recorded that as a sale to Hari. Hari would have recorded in his books of accounts as purchase. Therefore, transaction between us is typically treated as sale. Clear, my dear? But transaction between Hari to Joseph, how Hari records in his book. Whether in his books he records only commission. If he records commission alone will be considered as a turnover. The entire supply will not be considered. But look at what they say. Made by an agent on his behalf or on behalf of his principal. The moment I say or on behalf of his principal, you should understand he takes responsibility. Meaning thereby he raises the invoice in his name. He raises invoice in his name. If he raises invoice in his name, he has recorded that in his books of account as sale. Therefore, the same has to be recorded in his aggregate turnover. And you might emotionally think, sir, one turnover is taking in two places. No, my dear. See, principal to agent was considered as a supply. Therefore, it included in the turnover of the principal. And agent making a supply on behalf of the principal to Joseph, he records in his book as a sale. With me, my dear? Comfortable? That's a beauty of this particular provision. Amazing mindfulness. Amazing mindfulness. Clear? Okay, let's go for the next one. Invert supply. How to go about invert supply? And we all know turnover is to cover only what? Turnover is to cover only what? Sale, which is outward supply and not inward supply. So invert supply including RCM supply needs to be excluded, and any GST if at all you charged on it or any other taxes charged, you have to exclude it. And then transaction between principal and agent, if to the extent of a job worker, I should say to the extent of a registered job worker, and to the extent registered job worker should be considered. My dear, listen carefully. What is this? Let me explain you. There is a principal manufacturer. In our case, let us understand Meera is the principal manufacturer. Meera is sending the raw materials to, let us understand, Shobana's place, who is called as a job worker. My dear, Shobana is a registered person. He is also acting as a job worker. Shobana is a registered person and also acts as a job worker. What happens is, Shobana is now acting as a manufacturer, and you know, manufacturer means a person who is converting the raw material into finished goods. So Shobana processes this raw material and converts into the finished goods. And finished goods are supplied from Shobana's place. Finished goods are supplied from Shobana's place as per the instruction of Meera to, let us understand, Hari. Now the question is whether goods supplied from Shobana's place to Hari, whether to be considered as turnover of Shobana. Whether Shobana can decide to whom the goods have to be sold. Think. Who can think? Who can? That is why law says, while you are calculating the aggregate turnover, turnover of the job worker Shobana, Don't consider this as turnover, because this is not the sale of Shobana. This is basically the instruction executed by Shobana. This is not her goods. She is not transferring the possession and ownership here. She is transferring only the possession, not the ownership. Ownership goes from Meera. That is why law says transaction between principal and agent to the extent of registered job worker. Kanna, in this table I have given it for the simplicity sake I have written so. But read in the bare law. Read in the bare law. I want all of you to read the second paragraph. Have a look at it. Read it carefully, my dear. The supply of goods after completion of the job work. Who completed the job work? Shobana completed the job work. By registered job worker. Who is a registered job worker? Shobana. Well, now look at it. Supply of goods after completion of job work by a registered job worker. Shobana, who is completing the finished goods, being a registered job worker, supply, transfers, shall be treated as supply of goods by the principal. Who is the principal here? Meera is the principal. So even though Shobana has made a supply, it is deemed that who has made a supply? Meera has made the supply, as referred in section 143, and the value of such goods shall not be included in the aggregate turnover of the registered job worker. So let us understand this supply value of the goods is 10,000. This 10,000 should not be included in the aggregate turnover of Shobana, whereas this has to be included in the aggregate turnover of Meera. Comfortable, guys? Make sense? Beauty. Go ahead, spend few minutes. Take complete grip of this beautiful topic called aggregate turnover for the purpose of this section. Immediately, pass everything. Everything, whatever you're doing, pass it and go ahead to take an understanding of conceptual clarity in this particular area. Prepare it. Practice this also twice, my dear. I want to see your notebook. You have to write this twice. First time by seeing the notebook, and the next time without seeing this in your notebook. Close it from your memory, recollect and do it. Go ahead, my dear. My dear brothers and sisters, having completed the first subsection of section 22 on a thorough basis covering all the three provisos and explanation thereon, it's time for us to move on to subsection 2, wherein we have to check for the other conditions. So subsection 1, how to keep in a most simplest of all form, just keep it this way. If the threshold limit crosses, you are liable to register. That's subsection 1. One line if I have to give a summary. What is 22 subsection 1 person liable to register says? If threshold limit for exemption from registration exceeds, you are liable to register. That's it. And how much is the threshold limit? For that only we have went in deeper and we analyzed all the provisos read with notification issued under section 23 as well. Right, my dear? So after completing that, let's get into subsection 2, 3, 4. What are the other conditions laid down? There are 3 more subsections to go. Of which first one, subsection 2. Every person who on the day immediately preceding the appointed date means the day on which GST Act has come into effect, which is 1st July 2017. That's his appointed day. That means every person who has a day immediately preceding the appointing date, that is on 30/6/2017, is registered or holds a license under the existing law. And here they mean by existing law is old law, meaning thereby 30/6/2017, if a person holding a registration under the old law shall be liable to register under this act with effect from the appointment day. That means it's a compulsory registration. So look at the condition. If subsection 1 said what? If I cross the threshold limit, I have to register. What is subsection 2 says? If I hold the old law registration, I have to register. So all gives a condition. Next to the condition it says you have to register. Right, my dear? So the simple subsection 2 is that if you are a registered person under the old law, if you are a registered person under the old law, you are supposed to register compulsorily under the new law. No threshold limit, nothing. Registered in the old law, yes sir. Appa please register in the new law. Clear, my dear? Let's proceed to the subsection 3. So we completed the simplest of all subsection 2. Now subsection 3, where a business is carried on by a taxable person under this act is transferred where on account of the succession or otherwise to other person as a going concern, the transferee or the successor, as the case may be, shall be liable to register with effect from the date on which such transfer or succession takes place. Beautiful, my dear. Listen carefully with an explanation. Right? Listen carefully Let me give you a simplest of all time example so that you all can connect and take it better. Being a foodie, I'll take this example for you. You all know Hotel Saravana Bhavan. Hotel Saravana Bhavan, very, very popular hotel, right? Hotel Saravana Bhavan, HSB. A very, very, very popular hotel. And it will have in its background this symbol also. Like Muruga symbol. Whale is there. No, that symbol will also be there. It is like, heartine, inverted and having a, tail for it. And yeah, so you'll be having that. So Hotel Saravana Bhavan is there. How many of you still know who is the owner of Hotel Saravana Bhavan? And do you know Hotel Saravana Bhavan has been transferred as a going concern? Okay, let me not touch the reality factor because it might be, harmful to all of us. So I am changing this and I'm going to give you another simple example. Let us understand a simple example I will give you. What is that, sir? Let me take this way. There is, say for example, Shaswath Academy is there. And you all know Shaswath Academy is a newly found academy. And what happened is that tomorrow my interest might go to something else. And today I'm running the show here in Shaswath Academy, right? What happened is I'm finding even more an able hand who can run this show better than me. My dear, I always believe my students and my dear beloved, lovable brothers and sisters, they have to get only best out of the best. So, if at all I get to see anybody is handling better than me, I have no objection in handing over the baton to them and say, boss, you please carry on from here, because my brothers and sisters deserve the best out of the best. I know I'm the best, but you're going to be the best out of the best. If that be the case, please go ahead. You carry on the baton from here to someone else. Okay, that means that person is going to come and take over Shaswath Academy. So, let us understand, I'm going to give this to Hari. Hari is that person here. Example, okay? Hari I'm going to give. Hari is going to start running this academy as Shaswath Academy, but only ownership changes, complete responsibility, management, everything changes. That's why the word used is as going concern. For the entire world outside, Shaswath Academy continues to be Shaswath Academy. But only inside we know Seetharaman has gone, and in place of Seetharaman, who has come and replaced? Hari has come and replaced. My dear, Hari is a new businessman, just started the business. Not even 1 rupee turnover has been done, but still Hari is liable to register. That's this, my dear, because Hari gets the business transferred as a going concern in terms of succession, or otherwise it gets transferred. And I'll give you one more example. Shaswath Academy, in future, I might hand over it to my own kids. Let's understand, my daughter is also becoming a chartered accountant. See, if she wish, I will leave her to any of her choice. I'm not going to force her. I'm very clear about it. I don't want to be a father who will dictate to my daughter, say, you have to do this. See, if it is for her well-being of the mind, well-being of the health, I will force. But education, they should love and do it according to me. And you all know, enjoyable experience when someone have to learn. So nothing by force. I know what it makes to be by force. So I don't want to force the kid. So let's understand, by choice, she also becomes a chartered accountant. And she is going to take over the business and she is going to continue. I am going to retire. Now what happened? There's a succession. There is a succession. Nevertheless, Shaswath Academy, which was originally run by SSR, will be run by my daughter, whose name is Shaswathi. And only from her name, I have derived this academy name called Shaswath Academy. Logically speaking, and even my own daughter's name, I have a background for it. It has been derived from Lalita Sahasranamam. Shaswath, Shashwati, Shashwataishwarya. There is a statement in Lalita Sahasranamam which actually says this. And from there only I derived this word. I was so inclined to this word because Shashwat means eternal bliss. Eternal bliss, it means all the time if it is someone in bliss, they will not have greed. They will not have anger. They will always be in the calm and composed mindset. So I wanted to give this to my daughter. So that's why I named her Shashwati. Right? So even in the Sahasranamam, the goddess name, it says Shashwati, Shashwataishwarya. Shashwat means eternal bliss, permanent. And that is where I derived the tagline also. I just went around and I looked at my journey of this 10 years in the industry. I just looked out what makes a difference between Seetharaman and another person. The difference is knowledge I carry. So I believe what is permanent with me, what travels with me all the time is my knowledge. Is my knowledge. That's why I had a tagline, knowledge is permanent and perpetual. It has to be. Making sense, my dear? So tomorrow Shaswathi is coming to take over Shaswath Academy. Let her take over, but this is a succession, right? Shaswathi is a new person. Obviously, while taking, you all know GSTIN will be on the individual PAN. Correct, my dear? So, Shaswath Academy, which previously carried my PAN, because of the succession, now it will be taken in the name of PAN of Shaswathi. There is a change in PAN itself. But, sir, whether Shaswathi is required to register because she is just taking up this new business, 0 rupee turnover, she has to register because she is taking Shaswath Academy as going concern. Shaswath Academy, and she is going to continue. Whereas Shaswath Academy in original was a taxable registered person. Or I would say even taxable person. They use the word taxable person, and you all know taxable person registered under this act. When a taxable person registered under this act, he is none other than registered person. In future, see, as on nowadays, Shaswath Academy is not registered. But in another 4 or 5 months, I will register Shaswath Academy. If that be the case, your registered Shaswath Academy, which has been run by Seetharaman, gets transferred to her daughter to Shaswathi, who is going to run this, or Hari to run this. In either case, either it be Hari or it be Shaswath. Whoever it be, while transferring, they will be starting their timeline activity of turnover from 0. Irrespective of their turnover being 0, they are liable to register. That's what point number 3 is all about. And point number 4 is very similar. The only difference in point number 4 is, point number 3 talks about any type of succession or otherwise and transfer of business as a going concern. Whereas point number 4 is going to say, in case of demerger and merger also, demerger, amalgamation, merger also, the resultant and new entity, is liable to register. That's what the 4th condition is all about. Now go ahead and make a note of that, my dear. Go ahead and make a note of, I hope and trust you're comfortable with point number 3. Now let me give you formally point number 4. And let me give you formally point number 4, and for which I am going to take you through my presentation. Look at this. Transfer as a result of a sanction of a scheme of an arrangement for amalgamation or a demerger, which is pursuant to an order of the tribunal or the high court, or transfer of all the liable to the registrar with effect from the date on which the registrar of the company issues certificate of incorporation giving effect to such order. Very simple, my dear. You all will be mindful by the time. If not, please learn it from me. Amalgamation, or which is merger, or demerger. For all these things, the scheme needs to be sanctioned by the registrar. The scheme needs to be sanctioned by the registrar, and the new entity is said to be the resultant entity, demerged entity, or the resultant new entity, or the amalgamated new polluted entity is deemed to be coming into life from the date on which registrar is passing the incorporation order. RC, registrar of the companies have to do that, and from that day, my dear, the day registrar passes an order saying that new entity has emerged from this day, from that day they are liable to register. From that day they are liable to register. My dear, are you all comfortable? Everybody? So now let me consolidate first section, which is section 22. We are knocking down the first section. What is that it says? It says subject to condition you are liable to register. What is that? First, subsection 1, based on turnover. If your turnover exceeds threshold limit, register. Subsection 2, if you are already a registered person under the old law, register under the new law. Subsection 3 said what? If you are transferring the business as a going concern, as a succession to anyone else, the new person is liable to register. And 4th point, what they said? Amalgamation, demerger, resultant entity is liable to register. So 4 if happens, outcome is same, you have to register. So subject to 4 conditions, you are liable to register. That is section 22 for you. Wherein remember, subsection 2, 3, 4, there is no threshold limit. Only subsection 1 carried a threshold limit. Clear, my dear? Everybody? Now go ahead, revise section 22, subsection 1 and 4 thoroughly. Hold everything, put everything into pass around you. Let's assume nothing revolves around. Put everything in pass. Write subsection, read section 22 subsection, read section 22 and all the 4 subsection. along with respective notifications and amendments and provisions, take grip out of section 22. Go ahead, my dear. Time is yours. And once you complete it, I'm going to take you through section 24. Go ahead, my dear. So, my dear brothers and sisters, first what we are doing, we are looking into person who are liable to register. In that first category, we covered section 22, and now as a continuation, we are to cover section 24. Everybody, my dear? So, let's quite away get into this section 24. Straight away get into section 24 here. Look at this, my dear. The opening phrases of section 24 says, notwithstanding anything contained in. The opening phrase says, notwithstanding anything contained in subsection 1 of section 22, meaning thereby, the following aspects, if you are covered by the following aspects, you are not supposed to check for the threshold limit of eligibility for exemption from registration. You have to straight away register. If you come in the following category, you have to straight away register. Right, my dear? So, notwithstanding anything contained in subsection 1 of section 22, the following categories of the person shall be required to register. Mandatory force. Shall be required to register. Now, let's look into the following categories, my dear. How many categories are given? 11 categories specifically and 1 general category. Totally 12, my dear. Let's have a close look into that. Look at point number 1. Person making interstate taxable supply. And second one, person making casual taxable person making taxable supply. So, interstate taxable supply, I am liable. Casual taxable person making taxable supply, liable. My dear, this too has some exemptions granted to it under the power given under section 23 subsection 2. So, this too have to be read with section 23 subsection 2, read with few notifications. It has to be read with few notifications. Right, my dear? So, what it all leads to the combined reading? Let's go ahead and analyze what is all leads to combined reading. My dear, here we go for the combined reading, my dear. Person making taxable interstate supply except. Where I get this except from? I am getting this except by way of notification issued under section 23 subsection 2, drawing power from 23 subsection 2. What is 23? Person not liable to register. So, there are few notifications given. The impact of this is notified handicraft goods. My dear, handicraft goods basically handmade goods by agricultural and small and cottage industry people. So, on a goodwill gesture, that is also exempted. And notified product when they have been made by a craftsman. And you should understand this handicraft goods and craftsman goods. These are all subject to some additional conditions which we will be seeing below, right? And this is only gist. This chart will explain you properly how it's going to work when it comes to interstate taxable supply. And then any service provider except jewelry job worker. So, meaning that by jewelry job worker, even 1 rupee supply he makes interstate, he is liable to register. Suppose chartered accountant, say Seetharaman Associates, yes, Seetharaman Associates making an interstate supply. We are carrying out a bank audit, say in Andaman and Nicobar, we are carrying out a bank audit for IDBI Bank, which actually the case was. Okay, when we did this, we charged IGST. We are making interstate supply. Are we liable to register because we are making an interstate taxable supply? Hold on. There is no compulsion. Why, sir? Please appreciate, check. I will check whether Seetharaman Associates has crossed 20 lakhs. Yes, sir, we crossed. Then I am liable to register. Right, my dear? So, that's an exemption given. Any service provider but except. So, already there is an exclusion. That exclusion except, meaning thereby I am compulsory. I am falling under compulsory registration. Compulsory registration except, meaning thereby I am not under compulsory registration. And not compulsory registration except double negative. So, that means I will come under positive. Meaning thereby I will be governed by compulsory registration. So, among all the service provider, jewelry job worker alone will suffer this threshold limit. Sir, what if I am jewelry job worker in MMNT states? What is my threshold limit? Manipur, Mizoram, Nagaland, Tripura. What is the threshold limit for me? 40 lakhs, 20 lakhs or 10 lakhs? 10 lakhs. Everybody, my dear? If I am the jewelry job worker making interstate supply, what is my threshold limit for a compulsory registration? No threshold limit will apply. I have to immediately register. If I am chartered accountant in MMMT, 10 lakhs. And I am making interstate supply till 10 lakhs, I need not register, sir. Where it is all given. My dear, I told you this is all just. Detailed conditions are here, and this detailed condition applies even to casual taxable person. Look at this. Casual taxable person making taxable supply except handicraft goods notified and notified products of craftsman goods. So handicraft goods and craftsman goods made by the hand, even by the use of machinery, they continue to enjoy the exemption. Now let's get into clarity of interstate supply law. What is exempt, what is taxable? Let's get into the clarity. My dear, this chart will give you the overall clarity for understanding sake. First, split the suppliers whether goods or services. If it is goods, ask whether it is handicraft goods or craftsman goods. Ask whether it is notified handicraft goods or notified handicraft goods or notified craftsman good. Other than handicraft, and wherever is handicraft, you also please add craftsman good. Other than notified handicraft and craftsman good. Split this into two categories. Sir, let's understand other than notified handicrafts and notified craftsman good. Say for example, this marker. Okay, the mobile you use, this camera which is in place for us, this tripod which holds a camera, and let's understand the projector what we use in the session, the chairs what you use to sit, all these things. Is it handicrafts and craftsman goods? No. Sir, 1 rupee worth all these goods, we are making an interstate supply. Compulsory registration irrespective of aggregate turnover. Even if you want to do 1 rupee of inter between state supply, compulsory registration. Sir, what if it is craftsman, notified craftsman and handicraft goods? Subject to the following condition, it is relaxed up to 20 lakhs. If any of this one condition is not satisfied, again compulsory registration will come. What are all those conditions, my dear? Look at this. Exempt from compulsory registration if the following conditions are satisfied, plural, all the conditions needs to be satisfied. And have a look at this. First one, aggregate turnover does not exceed the specified limit. Specified limit of what? Specified limit of threshold limit of registration. If I am MMNT, 10 lakhs. PAN must other than MMNT. PAN must other than MMNT, 20 lakhs. Other than PAN must, 40 lakhs. Because handicraft and craftsmen are goods basically. If I am into exclusive transaction of goods, then that is a threshold limit for me, right my dear? So first one, the specified limit, what we learned in 22 subsection 1, that threshold limit should not have exceeded. Number 2, holds a valid PAN. That supplier who is basically a handicraft goods supplier and craftsman goods supplier, he holds a valid income tax PAN, 10-digit PAN issued by the income tax department, he possesses it. And then third one, he issues a e-waybill. Properly he generates e-waybill. When all the three conditions are satisfied, fatafat, he can register only when he crosses up to 20 lakhs. He need not compulsorily register as claimed in subsection 2. A plain reading of section 24 will make you understand, sir, goods or service or immediate whether do I have to go for compulsory registration. It might give you that sense. My dear, I have clubbed section 24, subsection 1 and subsection 2 or clause 1, clause 2, read with section 23, subsection 2 notifications issued, and the resultant is the final understanding. As you could say, very clearly given. This is the result of various amendments granting exemption for compulsory registration, especially under section 23 subsection 2. With me, my dear? Please go ahead, try to make an understanding in your mind. Let's prepare yourself for a quick fire round. Revise this, my dear. And service, I have clarified you. Service, if you make interstate supply, you are not forced to compulsory registration. You are exempted from compulsory registration if aggregate turnover does not exceed the specified limit. Meaning thereby, until I exceed, there is no compulsion except in case of jewelry manufacturer, jewelry job worker. Except this jewelry job worker, any service including the job worker but excluding jewelry job worker, exempted from compulsory registration if the aggregate turnover does not exceed the specified limit. Seetharaman and Associates, Shaswath Academy is providing any kind of services interstate. My dear, we will not register unless we are not compelled to register unless we cross the threshold limit, and crossing the threshold limit is anybody. So that makes service a common provision across the limit. So tell me, what is if I am a service provider, what is the limit for me? 20 lakhs, 10 lakhs or 40 lakhs? That depends on the state in which I am operating. Will I come to 40 lakhs? No 40 lakh limit. 40 lakh limit is only for goods. exclusive supplier of goods, service provided will always be under any of the two threshold. What is that? 10 lakh and 20 lakhs. 10 lakh in case of MMNT, special category states. MMNT, special category states. What are that? Manipur, Mizoram, Nagaland, Tripura. Other than MMNT states, 20 lakhs is a threshold limit for the service. So it becomes universal, my dear. Whether you do intra or you do inter doesn't matter, except in case of a jewelry job worker. Sir, in case of a jewelry job worker, within the state I am doing, sir, respective threshold limit. Interstate I am going to do, sir. No threshold limit, compulsory registration. Ready, my dear? So go ahead, revise this, have a wonderful learning. Conclude point number 1 and 2, collective interpretations. And now what you're supposed to do, right? Stop for a minute, hold everything, go and take subsection 1 and 24, clause 1 and clause 2 and the corresponding exemption notifications under section 23 subsection 2 in the ISM. Knock it down together, take 5 minutes, revise this and come back. Go ahead, my dear, revise this and come back. We are going to the next one. My dear, remember all, this chart is a well placed one for MCQ testing. So mark it important for MCQ as well. Right? We are going for the next one. Have a look at this. Next one. Point number 3. Person liable to pay tax under RCM. My dear, we learned it long back. A person who has been forced to be liable under section 9.3, 9.4 need not say. Already he will be a registered recipient, no problem. But 9.3, 5.3 and 7.3 under the respective act, reverse charge mechanism, anybody is liable. He has to register and then he has to pay the tax, irrespective of the turnover limit. We have understood this in chapter number 3 while we are discussing RCM itself. So one more repeating in that particular category. Fourth one, person liable to pay tax under section 9.5. My dear, whoever is the person liable to pay, remember, whoever is a person liable to pay, they have to register and they have to pay. Person liable to pay tax, if it is taxable supply, definitely they have liable and they have to pay the tax. And 9.5, notified e-commerce operator also, we have understood same in chapter number 3. Right, my dear? And point number 5, see how quick it moves. Only up to second point, it's a bit lengthy and after that is going to be a cakewalk. Okay, now let's get into a deeper version. Point number 4 to point number 12, we will try to knock down at one place. Point number 4, we have just now completed, which is under 9.5, which is under 9.5. Now we are going to point number 5, non-resident taxable person. And before I proceed into non-resident taxable person, who is a casual taxable person and who is a non-resident taxable person? I have explained you very clearly when I am teaching you the person. Now one more time I teach, because I promised then I will repeat this learning, right? Who is a casual taxable person? And my dear, you guys have to look into the bare law as to who is this casual taxable person. And section 2 clause 20 and 2 clause 77, you should go together. Only then you will appreciate how it works. Here we go. We will go for this 2 learning together. Look at section 20 and look at the similarity. I will explain you with a classic example. See, before you read this anytime, okay, let me give you a classic example. I'll pick this way. Our Hari has come to this class from Haryana. Example. Okay. And after the class is over, Hari, where will you go back? He will go back to Haryana. You have come to this state of Tamil Nadu for what purpose, Hari? Assume only for this class. See, there are a lot of people here. You take, Naidu Garu says, sir, Nenu Vellipotanu, sir. He will say, I will go back to Andhra, sir. Right? And you take Malati sister, she will say, Sare, class முடிஞ்சு பின்ன ഞാൻ திருச்சி போவோம் எங்கே Thrissur sister in the native ane. Hello my dear, I am trying to speak all the languages just to trying evolution phase, but have it back of mind, very clear and very simple. The brother and sister who is coming from outside this particular state and staying here for the purpose of this particular class and then going back. They are like casual taxable person. Now come and read casual taxable person. You will crack it, my dear. Casual taxable person means who occasionally, rarely, okay, these sister Malati or Hari, they are casually, or Naidu, they comes casually. Who occasionally undertakes transaction involving supply of goods and services are both in the course or furtherance of business, whether as a principal or agent or in any other capacity, in a state or union territory where he has no fixed place of business. My dear, a Haryana guy, an Andhra guy and Kerala guy who doesn't have place of business in Tamil Nadu. They don't have place of business. But they're coming here for the purpose of making a supply. They are called as whom? Casual taxable person. So practically will it happen? Why not, my dear? Why not? I'll give you a practical example of casual taxable person. Have you seen Rajasthan Handlooms banner? Huh? What is that actually? Casual taxable person example. Sometime exhibition happens in other state. We go to other state, right? I'll give you a classic example. Let's understand I am GRT Jewelers. I am GRT Jewelers. And there is an expo exhibition happens in Bangalore with respect to the jewelry. Wherein I might sell the goods or I might not sell the goods. That's secondary. But I have to take my goods for exhibition. What is exhibition? Displaying your contents. Straight away can I take her? Is it possible? I have to apply for something called casual taxable person. One more classic example of my client case I'll tell you, my dear. Understand this. One of my client is an event coordinator. He got an order to coordinate an event, a marriage event of his close friend and for charges only in Rajasthan. This fellow is in Chennai. He is going all the way to Rajasthan only for that particular marriage and then he is going to come back. Casual taxable person in the state of Rajasthan. And within the state of Tamil Nadu, when Hari and Malati comes in, they are the casual taxable person in Tamil Nadu. Because these guys don't have usual taxable, place of fixed business in Tamil Nadu. They don't have the place of business. They're coming in for temporary purpose and they're going out. Like my friend went for event coordinator. He went there to, Rajasthan. Or this jewelry manufacturer went to Bangalore. GRT from Tamil Nadu went to, Bangalore for jewelry exhibition. This happens. Comfortable, my dear? Right. Same logic. Let's assume our Shobana is from Africa. That's the same example I gave you if you remember. Shobana is assumed to be from Africa. And why he is here? For a temporary. Sorry, why she is here? I'm sorry, sister, don't take otherwise. Huh? No, why she is here? Very simple. She is here for a temporary purpose. After that, she is going back to Africa. If that be the case, she is called as NRTP, non-resident taxable person. How come? Let's go. Read. Means, exhaustive definition. Any person who occasionally undertakes transactions involving supply of goods and services are both, whether in principal capacity or an agent or in any other capacity, but who has no fixed place of business or residence in India. Sir, somebody India liye sir. No, he is not at all having a place of business in India. Then we will say he is called as what? Non-resident taxable person. So Shobna coming into India for the purpose of making a supply for a temporary period. It's called as what? She's called as what? Non-resident taxable person. My dear, please understand, casual taxable person, interstate supply if they want to make with respect to handicraft goods and craftsman goods, exemption is placed. Any other goods, casual taxable person, compulsory registration. Any other goods or whatever be the supply of goods and services, it is the NRTP, non-resident taxable person, compulsory registration. They can't come and speak here up to 20 lakhs we are eligible. Aha, he is not eligible. He is not eligible straight away from 1 rupee. And I am telling you the procedure now itself. Casual taxable person and non-resident taxable person, they are the cursed people. I'll tell you why. They have to take registration before commencing business itself. That too, before 5 days, they should have got the approval by paying advance tax. Cursed people. Why, sir? Safety, Baba. These guys are temporarily coming into our India. If they elapse somewhere, what do you do? They run away somewhere. Normal businessman running from here to London. Not mentioning Vijay Mallaya, but simply telling with due respects. Huh? See, for a fraudulent fellow, how much respect we should give. Nevertheless, country is so. If anybody close to Vijay Mallaya displays this, they will put a suit on me. Why? With due respects to the gentleman. Okay? Inadvertently spelt. Okay, my dear? Let's erase it. So what if he runs away after doing the business without payment of tax? So usually what happens? Just understand this. Let us understand Shobana or our Malati will come and they will ask, sir, I want to do the business. Kindly grant me permission because I can do the business only after 5 days of your grant. Okay, fine. You can do it. Okay, I will ask casually. Okay, why you want to do business in Tamil Nadu? They will say, oh, it's a very good state. We have a lot of business probabilities here and we will be doing a lot more business. Our profits will be better. All these things they will say. And when Shobana speaks, she will speak like Donald Trump. A lot of profit will be there. She will do this all. Okay. And what happens? Proper officer will note down that and say, okay, how much turnover you are expecting? Shobana will say, oh, 5 crores. Oh, very good. 5 crores, huh? Very good. Pay advance tax for 5 crores. We will actually take this and we will, note it down. Now, sir, will it happen this way? No, my dear. Everything is online, right? In online, when you go and make an application for casual taxable person and non-resident taxable person, it will ask for what is the estimated turnover. The moment you key in the estimated turnover, automatically all other columns will freeze and you will be asked to give the CIN, Challan Identification Number, which is possible only when you pay the advance tax. Without payment of advance tax, you can't even make an application for registration. That's a pathetic case for these two fellows. Why, sir? My dear, they may run away. They may run away. How will you catch? Canons of economy. You remember the first set of canons given by Adam Smith. The cost of collecting tax should be efficient. It should be less than the tax itself. Suppose Shobana runs all the way to Africa. Can I send a search squad to catch Shobana and collect tax? Wow. Who will pay that amount? Who will pay the freight? Who will pay the stay cost? And leave this all. Where Shobana in Africa? How I will search? Not possible, yeah. That is why it has been made compulsory registration. Right, my dear? So that is, we are knocking down something called casual taxable person in-depth analysis and also non-resident taxable person in-depth analysis. We are going for the next one. Person required to deduct tax under section 51. My dear, we have discussed in deep when we discussed GTA provision and security service provision. So there we understood anybody who is supposed to collect tax or deduct tax, for them compulsory registration. And look at this. This is deduction of tax and this is collection of tax. Where is collection of tax? Here we go. Collection of tax. Every e-commerce operator who is required to collect tax under section 52, e-commerce operator who is supposed to collect tax, for it is compulsory registration. And look at this point number 7. Where did we learn? Principal and agent, they have to make a separate registration because on behalf of ownership should transfer through. And then when we are reading section 7, subsection 1C, read with schedule 1, para 3, we have learned this. Principal and agent should take a separate registration. Look at this, my dear. Person who makes a taxable supply on behalf of another taxable person, whether as an agent or otherwise, for them compulsory registration, no threshold limit. They have to compulsorily register. Suppose, let us understand this way, my dear. Seetharaman is willing to act as an agent for Britannia Milk Bikis. Wow, why not? Simple, yeah. Let us understand. I'm going to put a new shop or a distribution agency. I'm taking the agency with them. Why not Britannia Milk Bikis? I might take a dealership with Audi car also. Anything. Now tell me Audi car, Britannia biscuits. All these guys are already registered person. That means Seetharaman, who is starting the business now, have to register today itself. Sir, without not even one product sold, sir. Doesn't matter, yeah. You decided to act as an agent of other taxable person. Correct, sir. Other taxable person, I decided to act. Compulsory registration for Seetharaman. Right, my dear? Okay. Next, input service distributor. Beautiful concept, input service distributor.